Imagine this. You quietly open the bedroom door of a 7-year-old child. The bed is neatly made, books are standing perfectly on the shelf, school clothes are folded, the backpack is already packed for tomorrow morning, toys are back where they belong. There are no dirty clothes scattered across the floor. No one has reminded the child. No one has offered money. No one has promised extra screen time, and no one has shouted, "Go clean your room!" So, what's happening here? How can children this young naturally take care of their own space? For millions of parents around the world, keeping a child's bedroom clean feels like one of the biggest daily struggles. Every morning begins with reminders. Pick up your toys. Put your shoes away. Hang your jacket. How many times do I have to tell you? The same conversations happen again, and again, and again. Eventually, cleaning stops feeling like a healthy habit. Instead, it becomes another argument between parent and child. Children begin believing something dangerous. Cleaning is something adults force me to do, not something I choose to do. But in many Japanese homes, cleaning is introduced very differently. It isn't treated as punishment. It isn't used as discipline. It isn't something children do only when guests are coming over. Instead, it quietly becomes part of everyday family life. From a surprisingly young age, children begin learning one very simple idea. Every object has a home. Books belong on the shelf. Shoes belong near the entrance. School bags belong in one place. Clothes belong folded. Toys belong inside their basket. Notice something interesting. Parents aren't constantly saying, "Don't make a mess." Instead, they're quietly teaching children where things belong. That may sound like a tiny difference, but psychologists say it's actually enormous. Because children don't naturally think in terms of clean or messy, they think in patterns. If every object always returns to the same place, the brain slowly begins recognizing that pattern. Eventually, putting something away requires almost no mental effort. It simply becomes automatic. And that's exactly how habits are formed. Most parents try to motivate children. Japanese parenting often tries to remove the need for motivation altogether. Because once a habit becomes automatic, children no longer ask, "Do I feel like cleaning today?" They simply return things to where they've always belonged. Perhaps that's why Japanese parents spend less time reminding and more time creating routines. Another fascinating difference is something almost every child does. They watch. Children are incredible observers. Long before they fully understand language, they understand behavior. If a mother finishes reading a book and quietly places it back on the shelf, the child notices. If a father removes his shoes and neatly lines them up at the entrance, the child notices. If older brothers and sisters clean up after themselves, the younger child notices. Children may ignore our lectures, but they almost never ignore our actions. This is one of the biggest ideas behind Japanese parenting. Children become what they repeatedly see, not what they repeatedly hear. A parent can spend 30 minutes talking about responsibility, but 1 minute of calmly putting things away every single day teaches a far stronger lesson, because behavior is contagious. Calmness spreads, respect spreads, responsibility spreads, organization spreads, without anyone needing to give a speech. Modern parenting sometimes depends heavily on instructions. Clean this, move that, don't leave your toys there. Japanese parenting often depends more on demonstration. Parents quietly become the example they hope their children will copy, and over hundreds of ordinary days, children begin copying those same behaviors without even realizing it. Little by little, cleaning stops feeling like work. It simply becomes part of daily life. But perhaps the most surprising reason Japanese children naturally clean their rooms has nothing to do with their bedrooms at all. It begins somewhere almost every child in Japan visits, 5 days every week, their school. Because what happens inside Japanese classrooms teaches children a lesson about responsibility that many people outside Japan have never experienced. And once you understand that system, the entire Japanese approach to cleaning suddenly starts making perfect sense. If Japanese children naturally keep their rooms clean, the biggest reason may not begin at home. It begins at school. Imagine walking into an elementary school in Japan at the end of the day. The final class has finished. The teacher doesn't call a janitor. No cleaning staff arrives with brooms and trash carts. Instead, something remarkable happens. Children stand up. They grab small brooms, dustpans, cleaning cloths, buckets, and together, they begin cleaning their own classroom. They wipe the desks, sweep the floors, clean the hallways, even the bathrooms in many schools. To someone seeing this for the first time, it can be shocking. Why are children cleaning their own school? Wouldn't it be easier for adults to do it? Japanese educators see it differently. Because the goal isn't simply to have a clean classroom, the goal is to build responsible human beings. Every day, children receive the same quiet message. This place belongs to all of us. If we use it, we also take care of it. That single idea changes everything. Cleaning is no longer punishment. Cleaning becomes respect. Respect for your classroom. Respect for your classmates. Respect for the people who share the same space. And eventually, respect for your own home. Many modern children grow up believing that cleaning is someone else's responsibility. Parents clean, teachers organize, janitors sweep. Someone else always takes care of the mess. But Japanese children experience something completely different. They learn that every action leaves a responsibility behind. If you create the mess, you help restore the space. Not because someone is angry, but because that's simply what responsible people do. This lesson quietly follows them home. When they finish playing, they naturally begin putting toys away. When they finish eating, they carry their dishes. When they change clothes, they know where those clothes belong. No reward chart, no sticker, no allowance, just habit. Researchers studying habit formation have discovered something fascinating. The behaviors we repeat in the same environment eventually require very little conscious effort. Think about brushing your teeth. Most adults don't wake up every morning asking, "Should I brush today?" The habit has become automatic. Japanese parenting treats cleaning in exactly the same way. Instead of making cleaning an occasional event, they make it part of the daily rhythm of life. Small actions, repeated every day until they become part of a child's identity. Another difference is the language many Japanese parents use. Instead of saying, "You made a mess," they often focus on the environment itself. "Let's make this room comfortable again. Let's take care of our home." Notice the difference. One approach creates guilt. The other creates ownership. Children stop feeling criticized. Instead, they begin feeling responsible. Psychologists call this identity-based behavior. When children begin seeing themselves as someone who takes care of their environment, they no longer need constant reminders. Because people naturally act in ways that match the identity they believe about themselves. A child who believes, "I'm responsible," will usually behave very differently from a child who believes, "I only clean when someone forces me." Perhaps this is why Japanese children often appear naturally organized. The organization isn't natural. The identity is. It has been quietly built through hundreds of ordinary moments, both at home and at school. But there is one final piece of Japanese parenting that connects everything we've explored. It explains why cleaning, responsibility, patience, and discipline all seem to grow together. And once you understand this final principle, you'll realize that Japanese parenting was never really about cleaning rooms at all. It was about shaping character. By now, you've probably realized something important. Japanese parenting was never really trying to create children with perfectly clean bedrooms. Cleaning was simply the tool. The real goal was something much bigger. Character. Because every time a child puts away a toy, they're practicing responsibility. Every time they fold their clothes, they're practicing self-discipline. Every time they organize their school bag, they're practicing preparation. These may look like ordinary household tasks, but psychologists have discovered that small daily habits often shape lifelong behavior. Children rarely become responsible overnight. Responsibility is built through repetition. One small action, repeated hundreds of times. This is one reason Japanese parenting focuses so heavily on routines. Morning routines, after-school routines, dinner routines, bedtime routines, cleaning routines. At first, children simply follow the routine because everyone else is doing it. But something fascinating begins to happen. Eventually, the routine becomes automatic, and after enough repetition, the habit slowly becomes part of the child's identity. Instead of thinking, "My parents want me to clean," the child begins thinking, "I'm someone who takes care of my things." That small shift changes everything, because identity is one of the strongest forces behind human behavior. People naturally behave in ways that match the person they believe they are. A child who believes, "I'm responsible," will usually act responsibly. A child who believes, "I'm careless," often continues behaving carelessly. Japanese parenting quietly shapes identity instead of simply correcting behavior. Another interesting difference is that many Japanese parents don't expect perfection. If a child forgets to put one toy away, the goal isn't immediate punishment, it's another opportunity to practice. Mistakes are treated as part of learning, not proof that the child has failed. That mindset reduces fear. Children stop worrying about doing everything perfectly. Instead, they simply focus on improving little by little. This philosophy is deeply connected to a Japanese idea called kaizen, the belief that small, consistent improvements create extraordinary results over time. One toy today, one shelf tomorrow, one habit next week, one routine next month. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated, just steady progress. And perhaps that's exactly why these habits last. Modern parenting often looks for quick solutions. Reward charts, punishments, bribes, consequences. Japanese parenting often takes the slower path. It understands that lasting habits aren't created in one afternoon. They're created through years of patient repetition. Parents don't simply ask children to clean, they clean with them, they model it, they normalize it, and eventually, children no longer need to be reminded, not because they're afraid, but because caring for their environment has become part of who they are. Maybe that's the lesson many of us have forgotten. Children don't naturally become organized because they're born different. They become organized because their environment quietly teaches them what responsibility looks like every single day. So perhaps, before asking, "How can I make my child clean their room?" we should ask a different question. What kind of habits am I helping my child build every day? Because clean rooms aren't the real victory. Responsible children are. And those children often grow into adults who respect their homes, their communities, their work, and the people around them. That may be the true Japanese parenting secret. Not raising children who simply follow instructions, but raising children who naturally choose to do the right thing, even when no one is watching. If this video gave you a new perspective on parenting, let us know in the comments. When did your child first start taking responsibility for their own space? And if you'd like to learn more about Japanese parenting, child psychology, and the small daily habits that shape confident, responsible children, subscribe to Discipline Redefined. Because the smallest habits in childhood often create the strongest adults.